Did you read about the story or see the story kind of on TV first? Is that was your first interaction with this story?
I had known about the story for a while.
Yeah.
It was a pretty famous case. And this was my first film, and I wanted to do a documentary. And I just come across it again like a couple of years ago. Just I think Getz had come up in the news. I think he had talked about someone had interviewed him about the Trayvon Martin shooting.
Oh, okay.
And so I was just looking into it again. And what happened was I had heard his side of the story, but I didn't hear anything from the boys who got shot. None of them had given a lot of interviews, so I just started researching into it, and then I just ended up finding one of the kids.
Because Barry was in jail when you interviewed him.
Yeah.
Tell me about that process. Did you reach out to him?
I did. He was actually the only person on record that I could find on my own. The other guys had kind of disappeared. It was actually good that he was in prison in a way, because otherwise I couldn't have found him.
Wow.
And his name being Barry Allen, I don't know, that's the name of the Flash.
Yeah.
So it's also hard to find someone who's like a famous name like that.
You can't really Google search him.
Yeah. So luckily I found him. I knew his birth date because of some articles that had been written back in the 80s during the case. So it was a guess, and I just wrote him a letter asking him if that was him. I was pretty sure because the birth date was right. Some of the crimes that they had mentioned when he was a teenager showed up on his criminal record. So I just wrote him a letter asking if he was willing to talk about what happened, and he answered my letter.
He seemed like he really enjoyed talking. I mean, he was quite open about the subject matter.
Yeah, we actually spoke probably about 2 or 3 hours total.
Wow.
And we talked about everything. He's very well-spoken, intelligent guy. And yeah, he was very open.
I'd love to touch upon, do you have a background in animation? And then for the film, who did you use for the animation? Because it was that's really a big part of the film is the animation parts of it.
Yeah. No, I don't have any background in animation. My background, I had been working in tech in California, in Silicon Valley. But I've always enjoyed movies. The reason why I went to the animation route is, one, I didn't want to hire actors and go through all the, going through the casting, all that stuff. And I've never really been a huge fan of recreations, like live recreations of events. So I knew I wanted to go to the animation route. I ended up finding these 2 animators through online services. I went through and basically interviewed them remotely by asking them to draw certain pictures for me. I was looking for a specific aesthetic. I was trying to go for a G.I. Joe 1980. I don't know if you've seen those cartoons, but I grew up watching those, and I really liked those, the aesthetic of G.I. Joe. So I asked all the people that I kind of interviewing to recreate scenes and figures based on those.
Did you make them draw actual G.I. Joe characters? Or?
No, what I did was...
Because that could be a whole movie on itself.
Yeah. So what I did was I had pictures of the kids from newspapers. So I sent them the pictures of those, and I said, hey, these are the kids, and I gave them examples of G.I. Joe, and like, this is how I want to look, and just show me what you can do.
Wow.
And I had 2 animators, one that did just the characters, and one that did the backgrounds, because the backgrounds, I don't know if you know, but the backgrounds were more like paintings in the G.I. Joe cartoons, so they looked a little bit different. That's why I needed 2 different animators.
Did the shot of like at the very beginning, where we see the storefront and you have like the TV inside of the painting or the animation, was that both of theirs as well, or was it one animator?
So if it's not a character, I think one animator or one artist did all the characters. So all the people, any kind of person was one artist, and the other artist did all the background work. So any kind of TVs, the cars, all the buildings and all that stuff was done by a different artist.
Wow. I'd love to ask about the music and the closing music choice. I think the film has a nice upbeat to it because of the choice. What made you go in that? I feel like it's New York type sound to it, at least. Yeah,
I was looking for 1980s hip hop that was kind of in that time period. So I had my musician listen to a few tracks that I'd identified from the 80s, early 80s, that I wanted him to kind of replicate, just with those beats. And back then, there's still a little bit of the funk coming in from the 70s. It was kind of mixed in. That was before things, a little bit more musical at the early 80s time. But what I was actually delivered from the musician was he had created maybe 4 or 5 complete tracks.
Wow.
But he had broken them down and separated them out by bass and drums and everything like that, because he wasn't exactly sure what I wanted, which was helpful because then at the end I stripped out certain things and I kind of rearranged it at the end. But yeah, the ending song was, I like the fact that it was kind of, I don't know if it had that tempo of being upbeat, even though there wasn't a lot of good news coming after that. But I wanted to end with that kind of the music that was going on at that time. Which was
very cool. Is there hopes to do a feature?
No, only because I'm satisfied with the arc of that story. I did have a lot of material. Like I said, I talked to him for about 3 hours. But as I was working through all the stuff that we had talked about, I was worried about it meandering too far. And like I said, this was my first film, so I wanted to just be really specific and see if I could just make a nice, shorter story out of this.
So that begs the question, what are you looking to do next? Are you looking to...
I have a couple things. I'm researching another documentary, also based in New York, and have a couple other ideas for narrative pieces, but nothing concrete yet. I'm still in the research stages right now.
Very cool. What made you want to come to Tallgrass with the short?
I had read a lot of great things about the festival. From what I read, is one of the great regional festivals, which is what I wanted to go and visit and apply to. And again, going back to this is my first one. My expectations for my film are not for like the super like Sundance or anything like that. I want it to be I guess the regional festivals really appeal to me more, the regional and local ones. Yeah, I'd never been to Wichita, and I thought a story from New York might appeal to people who either haven't been in New York or are interested in city life back in the 80s.
Has Barry been able to see it? Because he doesn't get paroled till like 2020.
Yes, he hasn't been able to see it. I'm not allowed to bring electronic equipment into the prison. I have sent him the script, so he's read the script. And I sent him as many stills from the movie as I could to give him an idea. So he knows that I'm out on the festival circuit right now.
Very cool. So, it's kind of cool to have a connection into the, with Barry being still alive, because I know reaching those other people was difficult. So
yeah, one of them passed away. And the other two, I couldn't really find.
Well, Andrew, I really love the short, love the animation, and like I said, I love the last song.
Great, thank you.
But thanks for bringing it to Tallgrass, and Where can people kind of keep track of this or keep track of you, online?
I have a Facebook page, but the production company is called Stone Age Films. You can go to stoneagefilms.com. Some of the producers and we work together, and we're working on several different things and what. So if there's any updates, they'll be on there.
Can't wait to see what's coming down the pipe. Thank you.
Thank you.